So you're telling me one day after Oliver Tree dies and Juan Bergman already can find all of these connections?
Do you guys remember Kyle Odom? He was a former Marine that had a spiritual awakening during a meditation and realized that the world was ran by creatures that looked like this.
20 motherfucking minutes later. 20 motherfucking minutes later. Look at my air conditioner. Look at it. Look at my yard.
All of these people are in a secret society and the membership just leaked. And look who's in here. Cory Booker, Jared Kushner, Ted Cruz, Elon Musk, and many, many more.
So in the early hours of Sunday, June 14th, you know, this guy's birthday, CERN had its final collisions.
Welcome back to the Wizard's Fish. Hope everybody is doing well on this wonderful Monday. We are going to jump right into things as usual, so viewer discretion is advised, and everything that you see and hear is for entertainment purposes only. Let's get into it.
So you're telling me one day after Oliver Tree dies and Juan Bergman already can find all of these connections? I don't know. I just find it a little bit suspicious that this guy has so many followers. And I mean, his engagement is insane. I mean, 20, 80 million views on it. I mean, it's just, and you would think that if he's showing all of these very key distinctions that are happening, like, who has the time? Is he Rain Man? Is he a genius? Or is he just some guy with a last name that is, I don't know. I mean, it's not publicly stated whether or not he is, but in that last name is. But, like, really, how does he know the time? How did he know to go to the time of a movie and it's all connected, and then going to the days? I mean, that takes some time, right? And he's just one day.
Yeah, that does seem kind of suspicious. I've seen a couple of his clips, but I don't know, that is kind of strange.
No shadow bans. Not one bad video? I love his stuff. I'm sure you've seen it too. And that's the problem. How have we all seen it? It's kind of like Swaggy Lady, you know, the golfer later who put on the meta glasses. It's giving me this kind of thing, except he's not putting on meta glasses. Anyways, go watch his video because it is crazy. I mean, the facts that he spits out here are undeniably, Oliver's death was planned. I mean, whether he's in on it or not, I don't know, but it is a little bit odd that he was talking about his death a lot beforehand. Just, I think that they're all in on it. I think they're all in it. Charlie, you know, it's just, I don't trust him. You think your votes matter? Nah. Okay, that's a separate subject.
I just was in Antarctica. I played 3 sets out there.
Shit.
There was like 20 people, bro. It was sick. I had the best time of my life.
Fucking Antarctica, man. What's it like? I thought it was like, ain't they always got like conspiracy theories?
Yeah,
about
I found some of
shit?
the shit, bro. I think I found the wall that surrounds the Earth. Basically, I'm not a flat earther, but I think I might be kind of after seeing this wall, bro.
You really seen the shit?
I seen the shit, bro. I filmed a documentary. I got footage. And
Okay.
also I seen this pyramid, which I believe is from an ancient civilization, from a 15th century map I was looking at, and it looks like there's potential of an entire iced out civilization that's like 10,000 to 15,000 years old. I don't know the exact numbers, but I think I found an actual entranceway to an alien base that goes into the hollow earth, bro. Agartha. I'm pretty sure I found this shit.
Fuck,
I can't guarantee everything, but I have a documentary I filmed in Antarctica.
So it's a new pyramid. No one knew that this existed to now?
I don't know, bro. I don't know the exact specifics of anything, but I did a little, you know, I climbed the wall. I climbed the wall, bro. I have footage of me climbing this wall.
God damn, man.
All right, there's some shit we gotta talk about. Remember the movie Pacific Rim? Y'all should watch it again and then look at what all of these countries are doing around the Mariana Trench right now. Coincidence? I don't think so. Literally, our president, Reagan, I believe it was, said that it would take something like an alien invasion or a common enemy to bring forth a one world government.
That was back in like the early to mid 80s, I believe. But it's all just for entertainment because we're watching a movie trailer.
Y'all need to be looking at the Mariana Trench right now and the Devil's Triangle. It's no boats, no aircraft, nothing is being allowed there right now. And it is the most violent underwater terrain in the world. And it is currently erupting. Like, y'all need to go look at the shit.
The rainbow actually is stolen from the Bible. And so the entire symbol of Pride Month, this is kind of where the mind melt is. In places like Revelation 4, it shows Jesus in the unseen realm, and he is seated on a throne, and he's ruling and reigning as a king over a kingdom. And before him, this is just wild, it says there's a rainbow. When Satan was in heaven, he was before that throne, and he saw that rainbow. And then he declares war on Jesus, and he wants that throne, and he wants to sit on that throne, and he wants to see that rainbow. He loses the battle. He's cast down to the earth. He wins the battle to be the God of this world, the Apostle Paul says. So now his kingdom is earth. So somewhere on the earth, Satan is seated on a throne, and what he wants to see is the rainbow. And it's a counterfeit of what he saw in the presence of Jesus Christ in heaven, and it's his way of mocking Jesus' authority, because there's a throne there, there's a throne here, there's a rainbow there, there's a rainbow here, and this is his way of mocking God.
I guess
As above, so below.
this is Satan's pride before his second fall.
We still need humans?
Not for most things. We'll decide. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%. We believe unbelievable progress can be made, both inventing new vaccines and making sure they get out to all the children who need them. The benefits there in terms of reducing sickness, reducing the population growth, it really allows the society a chance.
Is a huge source of emissions, and there's new ideas about genetics and breastfeeding. With cows, you can vaccinate them, change the genetics.
Most of the time you're online, you're going to want to be in an environment where the people are truly identified. That is, they're connected to a real world identity that you trust, instead of just people saying whatever they want.
I remember this.
Bien.
They probably all forgot at the same time.
Tout le monde est prêt? Bien, mesdames et messieurs, le résultat de ce second tour a démenti tous les sondages et d'où jouer tous les pronostics. Ce soir, j'ai gagné et nous avons gagné.
Do you regret ever getting involved in...
I didn't have a choice. It got bad when I was about 15 years old. I'm sorry. I'm sorry the way that I look. Oh my God, it hurts so bad. It hurts. It hurts so bad because there's like nothing I can do about it. I take for high blood pressure medication, and I took for my mouth. How would you feel every 2 seconds seeing a tweet? You go, oh, look at this. Oh.
I don't really know who the watchers are, but I'll tell you right now that they know that everything has already played out in the spiritual realm. They don't have fake paper money, they have gold, because it will always be worth money, and it's the highest conducting energy source on the planet is gold as far as a metal goes. And their houses are impregnable. You're not going to climb it, you're not going to burn it, you're not going to rob it, you're never going to see them. They know that if you edited the genes of your children and trans the gender to try to keep money in your family, that you have the mark of the beast. Dominic Russo should still be with us. If he had been allowed to be born a female, he wouldn't have been dating Mackenzie Shirilla and in a car to be unalived by her. He would have been a girl and had a boyfriend. You're swapping the destiny of your children, and you're all going to stay in hell. You understand that?
Do you guys remember Kyle Odom? He was a former Marine that had a spiritual awakening during a meditation and realized that the world was ran by creatures that looked like this. And all this culminated with him being on a plane, and while he was leaving this plane, someone came up to him, told him to buy a cell phone and wait for a call from this man. This is Pastor Tim Remington, and Kyle Odom thought that he was somehow involved with the conspiracy. And he ended up pew-pewing him 8 times with a 45. If you know anything about pew-pews, you know most people would not survive that. And this Russian documentary that was released in 2015 about reptilians might back up his claims. Give it a watch.
На мобильный телефон концерта Сергея Шнурова и группы «Рубль» в элитном поселке Горки 3. В разгар выступления в банкетном зале вдруг погас свет. Камера зафиксировала этот момент.
That's not normal.
На самом деле, как выступление. Но что-то случилось со светом в прекрасный момент. Просто погас. Почему-то у большинства людей, которые были в зале, а там были люди совершенно такого серьезного полета, стали светиться глаза. Барабанщик у нас, собственно, выродил палочки, и больше мы песен не играли. Было пиздец как страшно, поэтому мы съебались.
Don't blame him.
Не помню, как мы дома оказались.
А кто эти люди были? Можешь назвать фамилию?
Да чего ты? Ага.
При увеличении на любительской съемке можно разглядеть
It's not everybody either.
Наталья Водянова тоже оказалась на том мероприятии. Она до сих пор вспоминает об этом с ужасом.
Ужасно, ужасно. Страшно, потому что свет погас, и вдруг эти глаза светящиеся. И потом объяснили, что это какой-то эффект stem-cell. Я не знаю, это силовые клетки, это так называется. А мы уже по-русски.
I'd say probably the third one, if anything.
Notice it's only a few of them.
Look at that. There it is. Just down the way from. I'm glad we came for that.
This is basically what it looks like an epoxy, although it looks like it was rolled down, but
sprayed.
It's rolled out with like a roller or sprayed on.
Yeah.
But in the end, it almost looks like it was rolled in.
So this is not paint as one might think of regular paint. It's like a...
No, this is an epoxy. When I was doing swimming pools, it was a smaller company, but you run into everything. So even though you may not do it, you got to know what you're dealing with. And this is something you would do on a shot concrete kind of pool where you have leaking, and then you spray this out. But in a pool, you're dealing with a whole lot less square feet, so you can do special treatments on it. So when you put down on it, it isn't going to come back up. Just like when you bring your car in for like a $10,000 paint job, they got to make sure it gets prepped right. But when you're dealing with something this big and stuff, with the best well intentions, you still run into issues.
You know, it's absolutely heartbreaking to see DeVay Chase in this state. This is allegedly her found in the streets of LA. It's just skin and bones, living on the streets. The person who found her actually made the link, and you can see in the photo right there, they have the picture of DeVay Chase to kind of show that that's actually her. DeVay Chase is this beautiful woman right here. She was famous for the role of Samara in The Ring, the voice of Lilo in Lilo and Stitch, also Chihiro in Spirited Away. Some beautiful pieces, and it's just absolutely heartbreaking to see such a beautiful woman like this in that state. There was actually a documentary being worked on where they were going to try to find her, and the documentary itself was called Finding Lilo. And the manager couldn't believe this was actually real because he was trying to find her. This adorable person passed away at 35. because of something. Many people want to know what exactly went on. As you know, there are a lot of stories surrounding her, especially with what happened in the MTV Movie Awards, which I won't get into here, but if you watch my previous videos, you can know exactly what it is. Because now there is someone who's pretending to be her boyfriend, supposedly, allegedly her boyfriend, claiming that, you know, he opened up a GoFundMe for her and he hasn't even said where the money is going to go. So obviously people are worried that he might just be using that to get money for himself. It's just truly, truly upsetting to see someone so beautiful and so talented pass away at such a young age. Many people want to know how this could have happened. You know, she had the money, she had the fame, and supposedly people thought she had the right people around her. But it turns out none of that was helping her. And she was alone on the streets with no one to help.
I also just want to thank everyone who voted for me and MTV, of course, and to all the ringworms out there. I just want to say
All the ringworms.
You're doing so good. You're doing so good.
I just want to say everyone will suffer.
All of these people are in a secret society and the membership just leaked. And look who's in here. Cory Booker, Jared Kushner, Ted Cruz, Elon Musk, and many, many more. Hackers obtained the secret membership list of Peter Thiel's club, Dialogue. And while this doesn't touch the old school rivals, Bilderberg Group, and of course Bohemian Grove, we are talking about 200 plus of the world's most influential new school luminaries. The technoligarchs and the broligarchs, and they have secret invite-only retreats where they do organized talks with names like Money Does Buy Happiness, Surviving World War III, and of course, How's Your Life? But this guy right here, Representative Jim Himes, is the ranking member on the House Intelligence Committee, which oversees the agencies that Palantir has contracts with. He's also in Peter Thiel's private club, along with John Lonsdale, the co-founder of Palantir. Palantir's software runs case management for Trump's federal police force. Right now, one of Trump's federal government spying programs is up for renewal, and Jim Himes is the key guy in that discussion. At one point, he even tried to get everyone to vote for a version of this program that did not include warrants to search and arrest Americans. Nuts. So when you see Democrats and Republicans alike selling you out, this type of thing makes way more sense when we say it's a big club and you're not in it.
I find it kind of funny how he wears a mask to hide his identity, yet leaves all his tattoos exposed. His information's good, but I just find that comical. That is awesome. I kind of want to make one.
This is just wild. So we have two groups of Jewish people, one supporting Palestine, and then clearly the other ones who don't support the ones supporting Palestine. I mean, is it anti-Semitism when a Jewish person is yelling at a Jewish person about not being Jewish? What is the rule behind this?
That's a good question.
Free USA from fucking Islam. Israel is committing genocide in Gaza.
Israel's committing genocide in Gaza. Wow. Judaism rejects Zionism. That is such an important note. For anybody that doesn't realize, Zionists will hide behind any religion. There's Christian Zionists, there's Catholic Zionists, there's Jewish Zionists. Religion does not matter to them. They are all a part of this group called the Synagogue of Satan, and they have hijacked every single religion and hid behind them, making it seem like, oh yes, we believe in the Torah. No, they don't believe in the Torah.
Why do these guys all do the same triangle hand sign? when they make videos.
They believe in the Kabbalah. Do they believe in Christianity? No, they secretly practice dark occult practices behind closed doors. Judaism can be a beautiful, peaceful religion if you follow it without the synagogue of Satan's influence, without the Zionist influence.
Mexico, we gotta talk. What are these, dude? 26 obsidian spools were found in Mexico City. That is a huge problem because obsidian is glass. Typically, when you work with something like obsidian, you get something that looks kind of like that thing back there. Now, with ancient artifacts, you're going to think of like an arrowhead or a flint knife. They're great for ancient tools because they're brittle and they fracture sharply, but these are claimed to be ear spools. Typically, these would be stone so they don't shatter in your ear. Now, there are two problems that haunt the explanations of ancient history: scale and precision. Ancient Egypt, scale and precision in granite. Ancient China, scale, precision in jade. These things were found buried under pyramids in Tenochtitlan. It was the Venice of America, and now it is Mexico City with no lakes around it. Now we know they had the scale, but now they have the precision to go with it. They are attributed to the Aztecs, but they were found buried with artifacts from all around Mesoamerica. The Aztecs' word for craftsman is Toltecatl, in honor of the Toltec, who were master craftsmen that came before them. Calling these expert crafts would be an understatement. They are less than a millimeter thick, making them translucent. They have almost perfect symmetry in brittle glass uniformly, a consistent wall thickness, and they even did it in rock crystal, which is harder and more brittle than obsidian. In 1970, two researchers at UC Berkeley tried to determine what methods were used to create these. Both said these would be precision artifacts in modern day. How off something can be is called a tolerance. Let's say you try to make a piece of metal perfectly flat. The tolerance on the curved glass exceeds what the human hand can produce on metal flat. This was confirmed by scans that showed something similar to a lathe, a tool that could make straight lines. We'd expect to see a contraption that could do this, maybe not like a machine like we have, or a lot of failed broken ones. We find neither of those, especially when you compare the thickness. All we find are the perfectly finished products of some sort of lost technique. Versadoco is where you go for the full documentary with all of the research on this.
Shit just hit the fan.
Obama, and they said he's a stupid son of a bitch. The JCPOA done by Obama, he handed him $1.7 billion in cash, gave him hundreds of millions of dollars, gave him billions and billions of dollars, but he gave him $1.7 billion in cash, green cash from banks, into a Boeing 757 and flew it into Iran. And they stood at the plane. I have pictures of it, like, oh my, look at this money he's giving us. He tried to bribe his way out. I didn't do that. Nobody mentions that. 1.7 billion and hundreds of millions of dollars. They tried to bribe their way out of it. And you know what the Iranians did? They laughed at Obama and they said he's a stupid son of a bitch.
All right, this shit gonna get deep, so I'm gonna need y'all to follow me. If you need to, you might need to go watch this movie, The Boys from Brazil. It's old, so it might catch you slow. I'm about to tell you the plot. 1978 is when this movie came out. Boom. So a tiny head superhero, basically, that's what we gonna call him, traveled to South America, find out Hitler got some people down there, all this hot shit, boom. He killed them. He found out they got kids, all ages around 13, which they find weird because they all got similar features. But they all adopted, supposedly, from Brazil. They say they got the boys from Brazil. One baby was exchanged for a dog, all kind of weird stuff. So basically they talking about they got the DNA sample from Dr. Mengele to clone these kids.
Weird sounding movie.
The purpose of cloning these kids was to go commit Nazism in their respective countries when they get older, so they will be trained to become politicians and stuff and all this. This is a movie plot, so don't ban me. But this is not. This is Bill Clinton with JFK when he was a kid. I say that to say this. This is Harry Lennox Jr. This is Barack Obama. What do you see similar about them?
A lot.
Good friends. They met in 1992. They've been knowing each other for a very long time. If you ever watch Blacklist, you would think that's Obama acting. Where's Harry Lennox from? Southside Chicago. Where did he act at? Till the early 90s. Southside Chicago. In the theater district. Down the street from this location. A zesty boy. Well, Obama met this man. Raheem, that was going to run for president that he was endorsing in 2015. But dropped out because came out he was zesty. Wayne Madison, CIA, exposed this. This is the same time Obama's birth certificate came out to find out he was Nigerian and Muslim and also adopted by Lolo Soreto. His grandmother exposed this years ago. And she exposed his zestiness. Russia told you too, but nobody wanted to believe it. But y'all the same people believe this a woman.
For entertainment purposes only.
Oh, Lord. I'm so pissed. Did y'all hear about the 12-year-old boy in Texas that had came home from school to an empty apartment? His mom, Erica Renee Sanders, Sanders, and her boyfriend, Kevin Dwayne Adams, Kevin, Keven. These motherfuckers done moved out the apartment and ain't said nothing to her 12-year-old son, y'all.
Assholes.
This is so fucked up on so many levels. Like, he got home, the apartment was empty. So the little boy went next door to the neighbors. He brought the neighbors back over to his place so they could see that the apartment was empty. So the police came and they talking to the little boy, and the little boy said, yeah, my mom and her boyfriend did mention that they would be moving. He just thought that he was going with them. So they get in touch with the mom and her boyfriend. They was like, oh yeah, his uncle coming to get him. That's what the mom said. But she wouldn't give the police the uncle number. Some kind of way they got the uncle number. They got a hold of the uncle. The uncle said this was his first time even hearing about this. He had no clue what his sister Erica was talking about.
Losers.
Then they talked to the boyfriend, Kevin Adams. On the phone, this motherfucker is literally telling the police, y'all, a long list of complaints that he have about a 12-year-old little boy. He's literally giving them a reason of, yeah, this why we left. We can't be doing this, taking care and do.
He's 12.
This is what he's saying on the phone to the police. The neighbor even told the police when they talked to her, yeah, they have put him out before. She didn't understand it because the boy quiet, well-mannered and everything or whatever, so she didn't even understand it. Anyway, DCS talked to the mom. The mom wouldn't give them an address, but they caught up with their asses. They caught up with them. They got arrested Friday.
Good.
He still was in jail as of this morning. But it's just sad or whatever, because for me, I just can't even relate to shit.
Here's a hard pill to swallow. This is an email from the president of the New York Academy of Sciences to Jeffrey Epstein. And it says, would you be interested in talking to someone, a world-renowned immunologist who identified Lyme disease when it popped up in NYC and who was one of the key people in sequencing SARS?
Plot twist.
She has a mega idea called the global immune system. If yes, I'll arrange it. You might be asking, what's the global immune system? Proposed framework for a rapid, proactive, and coordinated worldwide response to health threats like pandemics, designated to detect and neutralize dangers before they cause damage.
In the movie.
So here's the hard pill to swallow. This whole pandemic narrative world we're living in is crafted and designed by.
Please tell me this is coincidence.
Sometimes we see a word and we don't understand what exactly we are seeing. And the answer is right there in our face the whole time. And this one, you're left with these letters, which spells this. This word means
I was not aware of that. Probably just a coincidence, though, right? Like everything else.
Those of you who are going to get angry and triggered and attack me, go ahead and shoot the messenger. But all I do is share interesting things in our crazy world and leave it up to you to do what you want with it. And for those who say, bro, that isn't what this word means, look it up. And is it an easy lookup? No, everything is in code, so it's up to you to do what you want with it. I carry no bias, and I don't care what anyone's opinions are. I'm simply here to share the truth and go from there. So take this or leave it. Much love.
Did you see this post from Miss Creepy TV? She pointed out how there's pretty much a face in the side of the mountain. I think I have an explanation for that. So this is Mount Kailash, and this face is on the side of this mountain somewhere. And this mountain happens to be sacred to multiple cultures. She mentioned in her video how it is believed to be the center of the world. And I could see how these cultures believe that, because there's definitely something going on there. Have you ever heard about the other mysteries surrounding this mountain? Allegedly, back in 1999, there was a Russian expedition to this mountain. And the climbers of that expedition happened to experience rapid aging. These climbers climbed beyond a certain point and aged decades in mere days. Those same climbers died a year later of old age. Now, all that's completely unverifiable, so what's going on with this, and what's the explanation? Well, the explanation is terraforming. We've discussed how a lot of these geologic layers happen to be terraformed because we found evidence of it. We found a architectural blueprint in these layers that seem to be all over the world. And this mountain is one of those structures. But what's more interesting is this ancient culture that terraformed all this stuff. Well, it had to have power plants. It had to have structures that operated. What if this is one of those structures? What if this is some kind of power plant that when those men interacted, it aged them rapidly? And this face, all it is the art style from that ancient culture. Most people believe that's a mud fossil, but it's not. It's art.
Are restaurants charging itemized labor costs to your receipt? And why do I say that? Because that's exactly what happened to an individual that went out to eat in a Tulsa, Oklahoma restaurant. Have a look at this video for yourself. Listen.
A chef's cooking fee, a host seating fee, and a bartender fee. So I'm paying these employees all $3 for my meal, and then they ask me to leave a tip for the server.
That's ridiculous.
They already took $9 off my card to pay for these employees, so I'm sorry, I'm not gonna be able to leave a tip for the server.
Have a look at the itemized bill for yourself. A chef's cooking fee of $3, a host seating fee of $3, and a bartender fee of $3. So since when have we started paying itemized labor costs? Does this make any sense to you whatsoever? If you walked into a restaurant and saw that on your bill, how would you handle that? Now, there was no indication from the actual video that those fees were visible on the menu or were disclosed up front. But can you imagine if they weren't and you only had a certain amount of money to spend when you went out to eat? Granted, you wanted to leave a tip for the server who deserves it. And then you saw the $9 extra for all that other stuff. So I guess my question to you is, when is enough enough? With the cost of living that has completely skyrocketed from gasoline to food to now adding labor fees to restaurant receipts. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. And as always, I'd love to hear from you.
This is bigger than the Epstein files. This is the biggest cover-up that the world has ever seen. The Bosnian War in the 90s had something happen that has never been documented in modern history. It's been named the Sarajevo Safari. An organized group was accepting money for foreign millionaires to come to the capital of Bosnia, Sarajevo, and use innocent civilians as target practice. Our governments have denied this for over 30 years. The reasoning for this war was ethnic cleansing, but if you look into it, both sides have the same type of people. The juice box population was the only neutral party. They felt so safe in Sarajevo that they built a tunnel from the capital to the outside to smuggle in goods, also bribing both sides of the military, giving each side supplies that they needed to continue this war. They were funding both sides of this war.
Sounds about right.
Obvious ways to escape a war zone, a place where little kids go outside and get sniped for money, but they chose not to leave. Even the safari goers set up shop with their hunting rifles in a juice box cemetery. The first rumors coming out about this was that it was a blood libel ritual. After the war, not a single one of them spoke up about the atrocities that happened there. Whether you knew it was a safari or not, you knew little kids were going outside and getting taken out, but not your little kids. NATO gave the military strict rules not to touch that population.
The local Jewish community was not operating in a vacuum. URL. If the local generals had deliberately slaughtered those personnel, it would have been treated as a direct, unacceptable assault on Western assets, giving NATO the immediate political mandate to blow the mountain artillery to pieces. The contrast with the local populations. This is the exact double standard you have been pointing out. When the military on the hills systematically slaughtered, shelled, and starved the Bosniak Muslim and Bosnian Croat Catholic populations for years, NATO and the United Nations deliberately stood by and did nothing. URL.
That is not a normal thing if the people aren't involved. So why was this war happening? Well, the banks. It's always the banks. Yugoslavia, which was Bosnia, Serbia, all these countries, right, together. They were the fourth strongest military in Europe. They broke away from the Soviet Union in 1948, and the West was giving them all these loans, trying to basically bribe them to get away from the Soviet Union, not really caring when they'd get paid back. When the USSR collapsed, now they wanted their money. But they were afraid that Yugoslavia would say, "You juice boxes, we're just going to keep your money." So they did what they do everywhere: divide and conquer. On top of everything, the Bosnian War gave them the loopholes that they use right now to attack Gaza, saying you can invade a sovereign nation if it has terrorists inside of it.
20 motherfucking minutes later. 20 motherfucking minutes later.
Damn.
Look at it. Look at my yard. Look at my sheds. Look at that pond. There is no pond no more. It's full. That's not my property. But anyway, look at the vehicle.
That's a lot for 20 minutes.
There's water inside of it. Look at my air conditioning unit. This don't make no motherfucking sense. I cannot believe this shit right here. Look, all that across the street, that's supposed to be grass. Of course, all this supposed to be grass. Look how high it has came up in less than 30 minutes. I'm supposed to have 4 steps right here. There's 2 that I can see. Tell me that's not a problem. I mean, like, for real. And I know I'm not the only one that's going through this on the large road. I know I'm not, because I've seen it. I've seen it. It's time to get rid of this shit. It's time for a change. It really is. It's a damn shame. But you want my tax money every year, right? I'm gonna pay my property taxes every year, right? What you doing with my money? Because you're not fixing shit. The canal is overflowing back there that don't belong to me. Y'all done dug everything else, so why haven't y'all dug this canal back here? Well, because you're outside the city limit, but we still paying property taxes, right? Let's get this shit together. I'm just so upset right now. I don't even know what to do with myself. And it's still raining. It's supposed to rain till 1:45. So what's I supposed to do? You want me to suck out of here? Because ain't nobody coming. Ain't nobody come to check. And they know it's the Lamar's road. They know it. So you fix everything else except the large road problems with plumbing and issues and canals and all that shit and the roads and shit. And people got to go through this. So many people passing this road every day that don't even live on the large road. But y'all can't fix it? Okay. Yeah, I'm at that point. I'm hot.
Bro, there's a tornado outside right now.
Oh shit.
Oh my gosh. What in the world just happened? Jesus. Oh my gosh. What in the world just happened?
Man, he's lucky.
Well, this was insane.
Only got a couple scratches.
I mean, I feel alright. I got scraped up. That was insane. The whole house that I'm living in just got torn to pieces. I was flying around my house. I think I'm good though. Oh, my car's tore up. My whole house is tore up.
Dude. That is so crazy how he's only got a couple scratches on him. Like there's nothing left.
Oh, I need to get back under there. I think I'm good. It doesn't seem like my head's bleeding at all. The Lord saved me.
I'd say so.
Pleading for Jesus as I was just going through that. The Lord saved me. I thought I could die. I definitely could have died. Did you not just see my house? I don't even know what to do right now. Please, Lord, just let this storm be over.
Two Arabic men were driving through the desert when this caught their eye and they had to stop.
It's weird looking.
Oh, what this is this an animal? At first looking at it, I thought it could have been a snake and then a goat. But looking at it, I'm not sure what this is. Is this an animal? Now, I took this image through ChatGPT and see what AI would come up with. And you see in the bottom left, this is what AI thinks it is. People in the original comments said this is a jinn trying to lure them into the desert. What do you think this is? Leave it in the comments. Unanswered Universe.
Have you ever wondered why Jesus was crucified between two criminals? That wasn't random. It was prophetic. In Luke's gospel, one thief mocked Jesus. The other repented and promised paradise. And Jesus stood in the middle because the cross is a great dividing line between humanity. Everyone stands on one side or the other. Rejection or repentance. And that wasn't the first time we've seen this pattern. Joseph, a picture of Christ, sat in a prison between two men, the baker and the cupbearer. One was condemned, the other restored. Years later, Jesus hangs between two criminals. One dies in unbelief, the other receives life. But it gets deeper. The mercy seat on the Ark of the Covenant had two cherubim, one on each side, with God's presence in the center. At Calvary, the true mercy seat wasn't hidden in the temple. It was hanging on the cross. Jesus in the middle and two men on either side. The cross isn't just about two thieves. It's about every one of us, because humanity is divided, not by wealth, not by race, not by status, but by what we do with Jesus. One criminal said no. The other one said, remember me. 2,000 years later, the question remains the same. What side of the cross are you on? Let's get it. Let's grow. Most importantly, let's make Jesus' name great. Peace.
Did you realize that there's actually a direct connection between Pride Month and the Epstein Files? I'm Rachel Denning. I'm a mother of 7 children. I've traveled to 62 countries with them. When I discovered what was in the Epstein Files in February of 2026, it brought me to Jesus. I'm going to show you how the Dark Trinity creates a direct connection between Pride Month and the horrors of the Epstein Files. The Dark Trinity are known as Baal, Ishtar, and Moloch. In Mesopotamian and Old Testament times, people used to worship the Dark Trinity, but the worship of Baal would always lead to the worship of Ishtar, which would eventually lead to the worship of Moloch. The worship of Baal in ancient and modern times appears as prosperity, success culture, pursuit of wealth, power, and consumerism. This inevitably has led to the worship of Ishtar, which manifests itself as open sexuality, the breakdown of marriage and family, cross-dressing, homosexuality, gender confusion, and rage against the patriarchy.
Only in the movie that we're watching.
This inevitably leads to the worship of Moloch, which demands child sacrifice. This can show up in the form of abortion, child porn, adrenochrome, cannibalism, and more. The horrors that we are seeing coming out of the Epstein files from the elites are not just simply bad people doing bad things. We're actually dealing with supernatural powers. The people who rule this world are worshiping false gods, and the best way for us to fight this battle is to recognize that it's a spiritual one, and to begin engaging in spiritual warfare by coming to Jesus, by following him, and using the power of prayer and his word to engage in the spiritual battle.
Wait a second. He did what on Trump's birthday? You're not going to want to miss this one. So in the early hours of Sunday, June 14th, you know, this guy's birthday, CERN had its final collisions, where the experiments at the Large Hadron Collider had their last hurrah in the control rooms of ALICE, ATLAS, CMS, and LHCb, the 4 major experiments at the accelerator, where scientists watched the final collisions burst across their screens like colorful fireworks. So now the collisions for physics are over, but for 2 more weeks, beams will continue to circulate in the LHC for high-intensity tests before the machine shuts down completely. And get this, they're going to be putting a pause for 4 years for major upgrades, but it will be back online in 2030. It looks like 2030 will be a big year. Now, I find it absolutely fascinating that they do the final collisions on Mr. Golden Dawn's birthday on June 14th, and I will tie that back in later in the video, but I wanted to first go into the deep occult symbolism behind CERN and what they are doing here and some of the meanings of this. But as you guys already know, the 666 symbolism with a portal CERN, but it's interesting how their control rooms, ALICE and ATLAS, hold some deep occult meanings. As we can see in the occult and esoteric traditions, the ALICE symbolizes the initiate journey, the descent of the soul into material reality and the quest for self-knowledge. As you guys know, the tale of Alice tumbling down the rabbit hole is frequently read as an allegory for various mystical concepts. Now we have the Gnostic myth of Sophia. Many esoteric scholars compare Alice to Sophia, which is wisdom, a divine being who fell from the spiritual realm into the material world, becoming trapped in time and space, where Alice's journey requires her to navigate an illusionary dreamlike reality. We also have the Hall of Mirrors. In through the looking glass, passing through the mirrors symbolizes transcending the physical veil to access higher dimensions or the subconscious mind. And also tied with Alice in Wonderland, we have the White Rabbit, often viewed in occultism as a spiritual guide. The White Rabbit represents intuition and the call that pulls the seeker away from the mundane reality into deeper hidden truths. And what do you know? We have the Kabbalistic chess game. In Through the Looking Glass, the narrative follows the exact move of chess game, where Alice begins as a pawn and eventually becomes a queen. In esoteric traditions, particularly the Kabbalah, this mirrors the spiritual evolution of the soul, the ascent of the tree of knowledge, moving from a state of unawareness to a state of mastery and elevated consciousness. It's fitting that one of their control rooms would be called Alice. And then next up we have Atlas, where in occultism and esoteric philosophy, Atlas symbolizes cosmic order and the bridging of opposites, heaven and earth, and the ultimate weight of spiritual responsibility. He represents the cosmic pillar that holds planes of consciousness apart and the internal stamina required to endure the illusions of the material world. Now, fitting separation of realms, where as we know CERN is trying to open up black holes and portals into other dimensions. In mystical cosmology, Atlas holding up the heavens represents the boundary between the transcendent spiritual realm, the heavens, and the grounded physical world, the earth. And not to mention, Atlas is the keeper of cosmic laws beyond mere physical burden. Occult traditions revere Atlas as the primordial titan of astronomy and navigation. And get this, according to Plato, we have his story of Atlantis, where there were 10 kingdoms ruled by 10 different kings. And do you want to know who the first and mightiest of them were? The ruler Atlas. Just like in the book of Revelation, where you have the 10 kings and then you have the Antichrist. You can literally view Atlas as a type of Antichrist in the antediluvian world of Atlantis. When you dive into Atlas, it looks exactly like a portal. Go figure. CERN is so known for that. And we can see what they tell us exactly what they are doing. They are not trying to hide anything. Investigating a wide range of physics, from the Higgs boson to extra dimensions and particles that could make up dark matter. You heard that correctly. Extra dimensions, gravitations, and tiny black holes. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. They are telling us to our face that they are literally trying to open up extra dimensions and tiny black holes, aka Revelation chapter 9, the bottomless pit. Or how fitting they have a statue of Shiva dancing inside of a portal, who is known as the god of destruction. Should I say the destroyer? Because in Hinduism, Shiva is the supreme deity known as the destroyer. And what do you know? Revelation chapter 9 verse 11, and they had a king over them, the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon, but in Greek he has the name Apollyon. If you look, Abaddon means destruction, and Apollyon means, look at that, the destroyer. Just like Shiva is the destroyer. I'm sure it's just a coincidence. Nothing to see here. Now let's talk about the coincidence of their last collisions for the next 4 years taking place on Sunday, June 14th, which again is this guy's birthday. As we can see, he was born on June 14th, 1946, which just so happened to be a blood moon. And what a wild coincidence. Before he was born that same year, we had the Babylon Working, which was a series of magic ceremonies or rituals performed from January to March of 1946 by author, pioneer, rocket fuel scientist, and occultist Jack Parsons and Scientology founder L. Ron Hubbard. This ritual was essentially designed to manifest an individual incarnation of Babylon. The project was based on the ideas of Aleister Crowley and his description of a similar project in his 1917 novel, Moonchild. Moonchild, you don't say. Or then just conveniently, a couple months after these rituals where they claimed it was successful, there was a Moonchild born on a blood moon, June 14th, by Mr. Golden Dawn. I guess it's just a coincidence that this individual right here is obsessed with the Greek god Apollo. Or should I say, Apollyon. Where in the manuscripts, instead of Apollyon, the text reads Apollo, the Greek god of death and pestilence or plague, like the plague of locusts mentioned in Revelation chapter 9. Apollyon is no doubt the correct reading, but the name Apollo was often linked in ancient Greek writings with the verb Apollyon or Apollyon, destroyer. From this time, Apollyon has often been taken here to be a play on the name Apollo. And as we know, the Greek god Apollo is the god of plague and archery. He was believed to bring disease and sudden death through his arrows. And I'm sure it's just a coincidence that in Mr. Golden Dawn's apartment complex, he has a mural or a painting of Apollo being led in his chariots by Aurora. Now, the amount of information is honestly endless on this subject. You can do hours and hours of research, but this is just going to be a quick 10-minute video for the sake of social media. But you can look into CERN's little symmetry video where they are doing a literal dance like Shiva, the destroyer, a dance of destruction in CERN. Where in this video you have occult symbolism, esoteric symbolism everywhere with the duality of the black and the white portals, and then also individuals doing some pretty wicked things together, not wearing clothes and just looking completely demonic. And of course, it's available on YouTube. Now, going back to the idea of one of their experiment rooms being called Alice, as we know, the occult symbolism with Alice and Alice in Wonderland looking through the looking glass. We have the looking glass project of the government taking sidekicks or people who have spiritual gifts and looking into the future. You have the symbolism, the black and white checkerboard, obviously the duality there, got the one-eye symbolism. It is just deep with esoteric symbolism. Now, something else I wanted to throw out there, which I found interesting, how on Mr. Golden Dawn's birthday, the same day that CERN did their last collision experiment for the next 4 years until 2030, maybe preparing for the bottomless pit to open up in 2030, who knows, just speculation. But that same day we had this right here, which looks like a portal with the White House. And interesting enough, take this with a huge grain of salt, not saying, astrology or astronomy, whatever you want to call it, is a big deal, but while this was going on, Mars was in the sky above in Aries, which is all about war and fighting. And of course you have fighting here, looking like a portal in front of the White House. And now with that being said, you may be asking, what do we do with all this information? Well, we are using it to be aware of the spiritual battle that we are in. Ephesians chapter 6, that we do not wrestle with flesh and blood, but against principalities in the heavenly realm. To be on guard, understanding that the kingdom of darkness is pursuing their goal of destruction. They are literally trying to open up the bottomless pit, and they shall achieve that when the Lord allows it in Revelation chapter 9, halfway through the tribulation. And it's just looking wild, guys. It is interesting. It is insane. Maybe just a wild coincidence. Maybe it's all nothing, right? Just take it all with a grain of salt. But in my opinion, it is really showing what's going on. The veil is thinning. It is increasing. And for us as believers, look up, for our redemption is drawing near. Continue to draw close to the Lord by faith, trusting upon him, praying for discernment, praying for wisdom, and stand firmly on the foundation of Jesus Christ. He is the truth, the way, and the life, or the way, the truth, and the life. I love you all so much, guys. God bless. Remember, the just shall live by faith.
But keep in mind, it's all just for entertainment purposes, because this is just a movie that we're watching, right? But I'm going to wrap this one up for today. If you made it to the end, thank you very much. I appreciate you, and I'll catch you again in the next one. Peace.